Hi guys and welcome back. We're now in the second week of February and that means that I've completed 1 month of my movie bucket list challenge. In case you didn't see the previous video, I did this challenge for the whole year where I'm going to watch all the movies that I keep saying I'm going to watch and I never get around to it. So I wrote them all down, I put them in here, and every month I'm going to pick 4 movies, maybe 5, depend how courageous I feel, and I'm gonna watch them, and by the end of the month and the beginning of the new month, which is now February, I will let you know what I thought of them. So the movies I picked for January were A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. I decided to watch the English version, Rocky 2, The Way We Were, and Little Children. So 4 movies, and here's what I thought. The first movie I saw was The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and I've kind of been avoiding this movie for a while because I just never really understood the plot. It felt very complicated, and also people were really raving about the books and the whole thing, and I just, sometimes when it's too much from the general audience, I kind of just stay away from it. It's a ridiculous reaction, you should kind of go with the flow, but that's just what I do. It's kind of like my hipster thing to do. Anyway, I finally saw it and I really liked it. I thought the performances were amazing. In case you haven't seen it, the movie, it tells 2 stories that eventually kind of are linked together. So there's a story about this journalist who has kind of lost all his credibility because he went to court for this article he wrote about a famous guy, and like he was the CEO of a company, and basically supposedly he said a lot of things that were not true, so now he has like no credibility as a reporter. So he kind of goes away to write this biography of this very rich man in an island in the north of Sweden, and what he really wants is for the journalist, which is played by Daniel Craig, to find out what happened to his long lost niece. She disappeared when she was young, no one knows what happened to her, no one knows how she died, who killed her, so he's gonna kind of like try to find all of that out. And at the same time, we have this very young girl. She's like a very skilled hacker and she finds a lot of information about everybody. So eventually both their paths connect, and it's very interesting. She's very eccentric. She's a ward of the state, and she's very dark and different. And the combination of these 2 characters are so good. The story is very interesting. It's a thriller, it's kind of creepy, and it's just really good. I could kick myself for waiting so long to watch this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think it's one of those superb thriller movies. Like, it reminded me a lot of the feeling you get from Silence of the Lambs, which is like, you're kind of creeped out, you're very interested to know what happens and what's going on. I think it's way more complex than Silence of the Lambs. Like, the whole investigation thing is kind of difficult to follow because there's a lot of people involved. But I really liked it. I think I'm gonna go and see the Swedish ones now because I think they did the entire trilogy. So yes, so far, so good with the bucket list. The second movie I saw was The Way We Were, starring Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford, when Robert Redford was just so dreamy and beautiful. I mean, he still is, but this was like in his prime. I've heard a lot about this movie as one of those romantic movies you should watch. Basically, Barbra Streisand plays this girl who's kind of very difficult to handle. She takes things very to heart, she's very serious. She is kind of in favor of the Communist Party in a time where communists are not considered to be allies in the United States. And Robert Redford's character is just like this very cool, handsome guy who just, everything seems so easy for him, and he doesn't take things too seriously. And the combination of them is kind of very opposite. They don't mesh well together, but they just have this really sweet romance in which they're trying to fight against all the odds to be together and possibly have a future together. It wasn't my favorite movie. I don't know, the character of Robert Redford was just like obviously very charming and beautiful and just a fantastic guy, but I never got the sense that he was in love with Barbra Streisand's character, Katie, and it felt really awkward for me because it's like she's so clearly deeply in love with him, and he seems to just kind of be like, well, maybe, you know? And I think maybe that's what they were going for, and it's a little bit refreshing to see the girl being the one who's super in love with the guy and not the other way around, you know, like she's pursuing him. And I think that's very brave and that's very sweet. I think she's an endearing character. There's just, the chemistry for me wasn't there. It's not a movie I would watch again, but I applaud it for being very realistic and quite different for the rest of these romantic, you know, unrealistic movies. The next movie I watched was Rocky 2, and I've seen the Rocky movies kind of, not all of them. Like, I remember bits and pieces because my dad used to really like them, but I've only really seen the first one, Rocky Balboa, and I think that's it. Now Rocky 2. If you've seen 1, you've kind of seen all the Rocky movies. They're very formulaic, but I think that's what makes them so enjoyable in a strange way. The movie continues right after the ending of the first one, so you know the fight is over and Rocky is like in really bad shape. The champion Apollo is getting like a lot of bad feedback from people saying that the fight was fixed, that he's not really the champion. So it's kind of the whole story of maybe we should try it again and see who really would win. I really liked it. I think there's just something about Rocky movies that just make you feel really good and happy, even though you kind of know how it's gonna turn out. It's really nice and sweet to watch. I think he's one of the greatest characters ever. I love Rocky. I love the whole underdog thing. I love how he's just a good guy. He's a really good person. It's just really endearing to watch that you can really set your mind to something and do it, and even if you don't have the result that you want, like in the first one, it's still worth it. It's still worth giving it your best because it's not about how other people perceive you, it's about how you feel about yourself. Oh my god, this feels really after school special, but it's true. I really like the movie. I'm happy I saw it. The final movie I watched in January was Little Children, starring Kate Winslet, and tells the story of this woman who is now a housewife in the suburbs, and she kind of can't stand the fact that this is who she is right now. She's very bored, and she used to be someone with a lot of thoughts and ideas and a great job, and now she's just kind of a wife and a mother. And then there's the story of this guy who also lives in the same suburbs, who is the stay-at-home dad while his wife is a very big, you know, artistic person, and he's kind of like not sure what he wants to do with his life. And in their own ways, they're both very desperate and kind of hopeless in this world, and they kind of start having this love affair together. I think the movie's called Little Children not only because the entire story kind of revolves about the kids in the neighborhood and what it means to be a parent as an adult, not just what you have to do as a parent, but what it means to suddenly have children. Like, how does your life change? What do you have to give up? What can you do and what can't you do? And at the same time, there's this kind of side story about this guy who is a pedophile, and he lives in the neighborhood, and parents are of course very freaked out about it. So there's always this sort of threat around the edges of this guy and what can he do, what he symbolizes. It was good. I enjoyed it. It's a bit long. It has, I think, great moments of showing what it feels like to be stuck in a life you don't want, and it also has great moments of showing, is it worth risking everything that you have for a moment of romance, for moments of that life that you want. So guys, those were the movies I saw in January, and now I'm going to pick the ones I need to see. Oh, did you see that? I totally missed it. Okay, we have Edge of Tomorrow. Cool. I haven't seen this, obviously. Harold and Maude. Oh my god. Cape Fear. Ooh. And one more. Da-da-da. The Last Emperor. Wow. We have some heavy movies this month. Better get to it. So guys, those are the movies I'm going to be watching in February. If you would like to join me and watch them as well, go ahead. And I would love to hear what you thought of them in the comment section down below, or you can also tweet me at CineClubChannel, and also the same in Facebook and Instagram, absolutely everywhere. So guys, that's all for this time. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on the next movie date. Bye!